Okay, so this is the coffee page step of the Stupendous Styles Challenge solution. If you take a look at the screenshot I gave you, brown background, three buttons that have a background style. Looks like we'll need to work on that somehow. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3 rows, and then I know we're gonna have another row here that'll just push everything up with star sizing. Actually, you could do this a number of ways. I think I just centered these three together. I think I put them in a stack panel and then centered the stack panel. So any way you want to just move them over, that's fine with me. Looks like we're going to use the same spacing, the same graphic and everything. So for the logo, so that might be a perfect opportunity to create another style, a style at the application level. And it looks like we have some text here as well. We might be able to borrow that from the previous video and put that in the application level style as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. You can see in the instructions we get quite a bit of instruction around this in number 6, the flyout menu contents. What I want to do right now is work with this right here. Grab that color, and we'll in the coffee page.xaml, I'm going to change that first of all. So I know I'm going to need just rows for my implementation. You might use columns, that's fine. Let's do grid.row definitions, or definition height equals auto, and I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 of those, and then the fourth one we'll do star sizing. Okay, very good. So I know I'm going to need my image. Now at this point I have a decision to make. Do I basically copy and paste from the donut page, or do I take the step of grabbing out all the stuff, because I'm going to reuse it all, and putting that into a style? So let's do that. I'm going to go to the app.xaml. I know I'm going to use it on multiple pages, so this is the right place for it, and we'll create a resources section and create a new style, and this will be the target type will be image, and then the key equals white logo style. Probably could come up with a slightly better name than that. I'm actually going to paste in what I have on my clipboard. Setter, property, and value. All right, source width. It's going to be what, 150, and then the margin. $20, $20, $20, $0, and then finally grab that and put that there. Let's try it here. That should give us what we want there. I'll come back to that in a minute. I know also that I'm going to grab this stuff from the text block and create a style out of that as well. So I'm going to grab the font size, foreground, and margin, and I'll go to the app.xaml, and I'll just call this style text block. I'm going to call that label text block style. Again, naming things is so hard. So if you want to name it something a little more descriptive, please be my guest. All right, font size 18, and foreground white, and then margin, and that'll be 20, 20, 20, 0. that should be good. Let's grab that, and I'm going to start using these all over the place. So here on the donut page, let's get rid of a lot of this stuff. And I'm going to set the style equal to static resource. Great. You just grab that out here. Yeah, I'm going to use it here as well. Okay. And then style here, static resource. Wait, what was that? Nice. All right. So before I go any further, let me just make sure that it compiles, that nothing changed with our donut page, and that our coffee page is off to a good start. It looks like I need to create another setter to set the horizontal alignment left. So let's go here and horizontal alignment value left, and that should take care of that issue. And we'll look at that next time we run it. Okay, back to the coffee page. Yeah. So in this case, I know I'm going to need buttons. I need 3 of them. Oh, and these buttons are special buttons, right? So I can't just do the self-enclosing there. I need that. And these buttons are going to have flyouts, right? So flyout. And then we want a menu flyout, and then we want menu flyout items. And here's where we use those lists. Now, I happen to have them off screen, so I can see them here. But I'm going to basically do that. And I'm going to set the content equal to roast on this one. I'm going to set the margin to 10 all the way around. So I'm just going to set it once. I don't know if I showed you that technique, but when you set it once, it will set 10 on all 4 sides. Just FYI. And then the foreground of this button is going to need to be white. Okay. Now that reminds me, what I wanted to put them inside of was a stack panel. So let's go ahead and set that up as well. And the stack panel is going to be in row 2. So grid.row equals 1. And I recall telling you that I set the horizontal alignment to center on that, so let's go ahead and set that as well. Oh yeah, and we need to set the orientation equal to horizontal as well. Great. Okay, we're off to a good start here. Now, since one of the requirements was to use styles as often as possible, I'm going to use a gratuitous style here. Mm-hmm. Don't really need a style here, honestly, but I'm going to use one anyway. So, page.resources, and we're going to add a new style, type, whoops, target type, button, and the key will be flyout button style. Again, I could probably come up with a much better name than that. So then we need some setters. I'm just going to paste that right there. Property and value. Set the margin 10. And then the foreground. The file button style. Nice. So style equals static resource button style. Okay, great. So I need 3 of these. And you know what? I think, oh, I got the margin already. I'm good. So let's grab 1, 2, and 3. The second one will be, what, sweetener? And then the third one will be for cream. All right, so now what I'm going to do is change the text on each of these. So this is going to be dark, and this is going to be medium. All right, then next up we want to go sweetener is none and sugar, and we'll get rid of the third menu flight item. And then the last one will be 2% milk and whole milk. All right, and then what I want to do is add click event handlers, but I'm going to kind of group them together so each of the 3 or 2 menu item flyout items will have the same click event handler. So click equals, and I'm going to create this myself. I'm going to call this roast click, and I'll just copy this for all 3. And then we'll do the same thing with the sweetener, except we're going to rename this to sweetener, and then finally cream click. All right, let's put our mouse cursor in the new name of the new event and hit F12 to create that stub in our code behind. Great. We'll come back to this in just a moment. Got a little unfinished business though here in the in the coffee page XAML. And that is that below all of this, I want to add the coffee little label there. So stack panel, and I'm going to put these in an orientation equal to horizontal, and this will be in grid.row equal to. And so I'm going to have 2 text blocks, and the first one will be just static copy, and I'm going to reuse one of the styles, since again that is really the point of all this. Static resource label text block style, perfect. And then the second text block will be, we'll give it a name because we're going to want to access it programmatically. And then style equals, and we'll do the same, static resource label text block style. And I think that's all I need to do there. So we should be in good shape on that side of things. All right, so in the coffee page, here's what we want to do. My thought is that in each of these cases, we're going to retrieve off what was selected, and then we want to rebuild that result that we'll put in the result text block. So when I think all 3 of these methods need to call a common helper method to do the assembly of that result message. So I'll just do a private void display result, like so. We'll get to that in a moment, but here's kind of how each of these will work. We're going to use the routed event args for the click event to determine which menu item was the one that was selected. So here we go. Var selected equals sender. Well, I'm sorry, we're not going to use the event args. We're going to use the sender. That will tell us which one was clicked. Okay, sorry about that. And then we'll cast it to type menu flyout item. Now we should have what we need, but I'm going to need to pass some data to this display result. So since I need to kind of keep state across all 3 of these button clicks, I'm going to add some private variables. So we'll do something like this, roast And you'll see how I use this in just a minute here. So you might be like, what? What are you doing here? Trust me. Okay. So here's what we do now. We set the roast equal to the selected dot text of the menu flyout item, right? And then we'll call that display result. So now we just follow this pattern 2 more times. So I'm copying and pasting, but what we grab off is different each time, right? This time we want sweetener. Isn't that how I spelled it? Sweeter. And yeah. Looks weird, but that is correct, I guess. And then the cream. Great. Now in display result, what we want to do is, ultimately kind of add all of that stuff together. Result text block.text equals, coffee, or I'm sorry, roast plus sweetener plus cream, but it's really not that easy. We've got to take a few extra steps here. All right, first up, if the roast is either none or if that roast string is empty, it hasn't been populated yet, then we want to set the result text block to the word none, because you can't just have sweetener and cream without some coffee selected, and then we're just going to exit out of this display result. So if roast is equal to the string none, or, and this is one of my favorite little methods, I don't know why, I just love it. It's got me out of, it's just an elegant way of handling this situation. Roast. Then we're going to set the result text block text equal to none, and then we'll just return out of this method. Great. All right. So then, assuming that we were able to make sure that there's at least something in roast, we'll go ahead and set the result text block.text equals roast. All right, so we're good shape there. The next thing we need to do now is to check both the cream and the sweetener. If the cream, for example, is not equal to none, and it's not string dot is null or empty cream, so we have something in cream, then we'll add it into the result text block dot text. We'll use plus equal because we want to make sure to add on whatever the roast was. We're going to add a plus symbol and some spacing, and then we're also going to add cream, whatever's in that cream variable. Okay, and I need to do the same thing with sweetener. So let me just replace all those. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and build it. All right, so let's just test some weird scenarios here. All right, that makes sense. All right, none, dark, whole milk, none, dark. Okay, I feel good about this. I think we've completed that step. So let's continue in the next video. We'll see you there. Thanks.